Have you had anybody say anything about it?
No, sir.
It is presently a single-family residence.
That's right, yes.
I move that we adopt this.
Second.
First by Mr. Locker, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Mr. Roberts?
Maybe I didn't jump in quick enough, but why was this requested to change if it's legally non-conforming? It's okay just like it is.
Right. We had conversations with a realtor. I believe they were trying to sell the property. And again, I'm not certain of this, but I think there were some issues in underwriting because of the non-conforming use. We see that sometimes with insurance or selling properties, things like that. Again, we didn't get the full story on that, but I do know there was a transaction in the works with this property.
And the reason I asked that, I'm not sure about it, this request, because I can see this area becoming more commercial over time,
Sure.
even bought up in chunks rather than just individual lots. And I'm not so sure that you can rely on it remaining residential for indefinite.
That's right.
In the future.
Yeah, it could go back if somebody comes back and, if this is rezoned, somebody could come back, next month and request rezoning back to commercial.
Right, I
Yes,
understand
sir.
that. So it could revert back
That's right.
if it were bought up.
Yeah, the area, as you know, it's predominantly commercial, It really has more of a, kind of a semi-industrial feel to it. You have some auto repair shops, things like that, but you do have a mixture of uses. In fact, the one property adjacent to it is a residential dwelling as well. It too is zoned general commercial.
I rode through there and really all the way down to the railroad tracks and maybe a little bit beyond. It is generally speaking commercial.
Mhm.
And,
Good point.
we're moving westward, if you will, and I could see easily one day in the future that this is an area open for redevelopment.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
To clarify that, does this mean that, okay, we're going to make it a single-family dwelling. Is this for the real estate person that's selling the house? Is that the reason that we're changing this?
From my understanding, we had a conversation with the real estate agent, and there were some issues during the underwriting process when they were selling the house because it's considered to be a non-conforming use. A lot of times that throws up red flags.
But at some point in the future, we could change it back if necessary.
Absolutely, that would be at the pleasure of the council.
Thank you.
For that reason, I'll support it, but I see a different path for this area ultimately.
We have a first, second. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We passed unanimously on the first reading. We have 5 items of new business, and the first item is request consideration of an ordinance providing for the April 2nd, 2024 general election. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, I'll yield Mr. McLean.
This is a request for an ordinance setting the municipal election for April the 2nd, 2024. For the 4 seats that are coming up for election, you hold election every 2 years. We're required to set that election by ordinance, which is always pursuant to our ordinance, the first Tuesday after the first Monday of April is when it's held. So this year it would be April the 2nd. And we're going to go through the process of setting this so we can put the appropriate notifications in the newspaper, time of filing and all that. We're asking that this be approved on first reading.
Thank you, sir. Comments, questions? Entertain a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve this for our election coming April 2nd, 2024.
Second.
First by Mr. Horban, second by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously on the first reading.
Seems like we just had this. a
It
couple years
does.
ago.
It does. The years go by very quickly.
Don't that,
Our next item of new business is request consideration of accommodation tax, better known as the A-Tax Advisory Committee recommendations. Mr. McEwen?
Thank you. The city received 33 applications for projects requesting ATAS funds. The city's total this year to allocate was $254,585. I received applications from organizations in the amount of $368,602. As a reminder, the ATAS, the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee, the formula is made up like this by state law. The ATAS formula distributes the first $25,000 to the city's general fund plus an additional 5%. Then 30% of the balance of the collections are used for advertising and promotion of tourism. For example, the CVB. The remaining 65% is allocated for tourism-related expenditures as recommended by the ATAX committee and approved by City Council. And that's what's before you tonight. Ms. Brittany Gambaro always each year helps the ATAX committee and navigate the process and accept the applications, and it's actually it's a lot of work and a lot of due diligence is put in this, and she'll go over the rest of this for you.
Thank you. The committee meets annually in October to review those applications. From Anderson nonprofits and agencies, the city can also apply to that pot of funding for events that support its tourism efforts. So the information you've been provided contains a summary of each grant request. The committee considers the applicant's tourism track record, economic benefit, the ability to attract and sustain tourism, and the likelihood that the funds will be leveraged in the city. The committee has recommended the distribution, like David said, $254,000 to 32 applicants based on those criteria and especially the ability to generate tourism. Of special note this year were 2 new applicants, the Downtown Business Association, which was newly formed to market downtown businesses and downtown as a destination, and the South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association for promotion of Restaurant Week in January. We're very excited about that. The committee and staff thanks each of the applicants for their interest in impacting the tourism in our city.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Maybe I'll open it up. Maybe I missed it in the background material, but what was the amount from the previous year that's available, the total amount?
The total amount awarded last year?
Last year, you have any idea?
It was roughly 60,000 less.
60,000
I think.
less.
Do you have the exact number?
80,000 or so last year.
Okay,
Close, yeah, I think so.
okay. That was my question. Any other questions, comments? And I guess hopefully, the presence of the hotel downtown is helping with that.
It is
Drive that
helping.
number.
We reviewed that the other day, and the numbers are going up.
Good, thanks. Any other questions, comments?
Move that we consider this accommodations tax approved.
First by Dr. Thompson,
Second.
second by Mr. Lockridge. Any further comments? All those in favor say aye. Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Very much so.
For
Opposed?
the committee's work.
Nobody?
Sorry.
Passes unanimously. Silent vote. No, that's a lot of work. They have one meeting that they get that through. Many years ago, I cut my teeth on the city serving on that committee. Many, many years ago.
I apologize, Mayor, I didn't hear you call for the vote.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry.
I did. We were talking through it. It was unanimous.
Yes.
Third item is a request consideration of a resolution consisting to placement of certain property into a multi-county industrial and business park and authorizing the execution and delivery of infrastructure credit agreements with EH2 Calhoun Lofts LLC in Anderson County. Mr. McEwen.
Thank you, Mayor. So this project is moving forward. Things are underway. We, as a council, we've been briefed on this project, and of course it's underway as well. We did move documents, the legal documents, over to the county for review. They're still under review, And they had several projects going on at the same time that are under review by their outside legal counsel. And so with that, I'm recommending that we just continue this item to the December meeting, just in case there's any changes or technical changes. I always like ours to be the resolution that we adopt to be the exact same as if what they have, and so just so that we don't have to come back again, I think it's I recommend that we just move to continue it to the December meeting.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions in that regards? There'll be a resolution on the December meeting. Thank you. Our next item is request consideration of a economic development incentive agreement between the City of Anderson and the OG Group LLC.
Mr. Mayor, do we have to vote on this?
Point of clarification, the city attorney would like us to vote on the continuance to move it to the next meeting.
Motion that we continue to the next one.
Second.
First by Mr. Newton, second by Mr. Harvin.
Thank you, Mark.
This is in regards to item B3, the resolution that will be moved to the December meeting.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Our fourth item of new business is the request consideration of the economic incentive agreement between the City of Anderson and the OG Group LLC. Ms. McEwen?
Thank you. This has been an ongoing economic development project that we're proud of that is coming along in downtown Anderson. And Ms. Brittany Gambrell has worked on this as well, and she'll go over the background of this project and also the what you're approving tonight as far as the grant agreement. Brittany.
Sure, thanks. This is a request for general approval of an economic development incentive grant agreement between the city and OG Group for the redevelopment of the Orgray Pharmacy Building located at 120 East Earl Street. The request is eligible based on its location, investment, which increases taxable value by over $1 million, and the generation of additional revenues. We've estimated that the project will generate more than $68,000 in city revenues, including property taxes, plus economic impact through the creation of jobs and bringing a more diversified tenant mix to downtown, as well as adding new residential living space for up to 5 people. The developers requested use of this program to reimburse the difference between the post-renovation tax value and pre-renovation tax value over 5 years. Per the terms of the agreement, the total grant will not be greater than the value received by the city, and the amount of the grant for purposes of discussion here are shown as $33,265 paid in $6,650 increments beginning in 2025. Staff recommends approval of this agreement, and the incentive will be a budgeted general fund item.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Mayor, I would say this is a very fair deal that I think the city has struck with the developer. This truly enhanced Orr Street. If you remember what the public finance building looked like prior and you see it now, it's a win not only for Orr Street, but even the backside of Carolina Wren Park. And so we know of all these other revitalization bills that are out there. I think City of Anderson got creative on what they structured here with the developer, and I see it as a win for both sides. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we pass this agreement between the City of Anderson and the OG Group.
First by Mr. Martinez, second by Mr. Newton. Further discussion? Mr. Roberts?
Brittany, can these numbers change? Because I see the language approximately mentioned over and over, so these numbers are approximate.
They're approximate only in the sense that it can't go higher than that.
And what is the formula? Is it that increase of value divided by 5 years, and then that's the incentive
Yes,
offered?
it's the difference in what the tax bill is now and what we anticipate that it could be, let's see, as soon as 2025. And so it's an estimate, and so we have to cap that just to be safe.
Then plus the other revenue too, so you're taking the other revenue, and then, so whatever we actually receive, we do it every January. And so we do all these that are under this program every January, true it up to the actual revenue that we have received, that's been paid to us, taxes, water, tap fees, you name it, the business license fee. And then we pay out either less or the cap amount for that year. So sometimes it is less if it brought in less revenue for that year.
But this is the maximum amount that we would pay out.
The maximum
Yes.
amount. So on that schedule, and you look at the agreement, I think it's page 3, it has, it'll say January 15th, 2025, $6,653. That would be the max for that year that we would pay out. If it brought in $4,000, we would pay out $4,000.
I support it. I just had questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think even, maybe some of the old timers can jump in. We probably did a dozen of these or so. I would be interested at some point, maybe, how many we still have on the books.
Just a few on the books left.
Yeah, we probably went through some of the agreements and probably just a few more.
Mr. Mayor, I think we extended some.
Most recently.
Most recently we did. So, good question. Might be a good idea to maybe even look at what we've done as a council over the years and what it produced on the back side of it. But,
That'd be a good idea.
We can get you that some.
yeah. Have a first and second. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Our last item of new business is request consideration of architectural design services contracted for the Lindley Park project. Mr. McEwen?
Okay, Mr. Strickland.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Mayor. Council, right before you, our last item this evening is a request for an architectural design services contract with Goodwin Mills Kaywood, GMC. GMC, you'll recall, we hired last May, can't believe it's been that long, to do the construction documents for Lindley Park. Happily, Lindley Park design is wrapping up, and we're almost ready to move to the Lindley Park construction phase. So more to come in the next couple of months on that. First of the year, you'll see a request before you guys for approval of guaranteed maximum price for construction contracts. So again, more to come on that. The last piece of design work you have before you tonight are the detailed architectural drawings for the pavilion and restroom facilities. Part of that authorization last year included conceptual design of those architectural facilities. And so now that the conceptual design has been approved by the public, or not necessarily approved by the public, but seen by the public, and nobody threw tomatoes or other rotten eggs at the design, we feel pretty comfortable moving to the detailed design. So Goodwin Mills K was asking for a lump sum amount of $72,500. That falls within that 4 to 6% industry average for architectural services. So we are comfortable recommending approval on that contract. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Harvey?
Exactly, I apologize, I didn't make the work session. Where would this go in Lindley Park?
Yep. So right at the center of the new proposed park, and forgive me, I didn't even think to put an overall plan together. I gave you the renderings of what the pavilion and restrooms look like, but no. So essentially, right at the center of the park is the pavilion, and then radiating out from that are the restroom buildings. Right
Is that
there in
about where the
central
tennis
complex.
courts is?
Exactly.
About where just below the parking lot,
Right,
the
the
existing
tennis
parking lot.
courts,
Perfect. With that, I'd make a motion to approve this, Mayor.
First by Mr. Harvin, second by Mr. John Roberts, the Mayor Pro Tem.
And can I say something?
Yes, sir.
This is in my area, and I must admit, it's something that's, and Councilman Roberts came to see our showing that showed the initial drawings of the park, and he loved it, and I loved it. The people that were there loved it. The children even had the opportunity to pick out the big toys that would be used in the park. And so I think it was a very successful rollout for this particular situation. And I'm pleased as punch to be able to say that I had something to do with this, so.
It'll be very exciting. It's a generational project. I think. Good point. Any other comments? Have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That was our last item. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, before we do that, I'm sorry. Council has a habit of recognizing young people in office. We have a young man back here. He might be with a scout troop. Tell us what scout troop you're with.
Here, my communication, Mayor Batch.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you for coming. So I got interrupted first by Mr. Newton, second by Mr. Martinez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Stand adjourned.